Hello, today we are going to be talking about the witch wound, what it is, where it came from, and what you can do to start feeling into ways of removing fear, doubt, and lack from your life so you can finally rise into your greatness and stop playing small. Hi everyone, this is Evening Star Nightwalker, and I am the host of the Awaken Divine Feminine podcast, where women come together to heal the sister wound so we can step out of constant competition, feeling unworthy or unlovable, and instead feel into belonging and allowing ourselves to live more sacred, heart-open, soul-led lives filled with passion and a life that is completely on purpose and expressing your unique gifts into the world. Today, we are going to be talking about the witch wound. But first, what is a witch? I'm sure many of us, feel that story within, when I say, what is a witch? That story conjures up the image of the woman with the big nose and the wart on it. She's the woman, the evil, sadistic woman that will turn you into a frog if you speak out of line, right? Is that what happened for you when I said, what's a witch? For me, because I've been working on my witch wound for some time now, instead of having that sort of conditioned story of the evil witch come to mind, when I hear witch, I claim it. Because for me, a witch is two things. One, a witch is a woman who is in total control of herself. And two, a witch is a woman who is wise, intuitive, transformative, creative, and a healer. You see what I did there? I used the letters of witch to create the acronym of what it actually means. And there is a beautiful song out there called Witch that is just so deeply goes into a woman in total control of herself. And it's beautiful. I can't tell you who wrote it, but it's on Spotify, so look it up. I call myself a witch, and I own every part of that title with honor and complete respect for the power that the word holds. Because really, if you think about the words that we've been told in our society to not say, words that, put people down or, are bad words per se, words such as, you bitch, you pussy, you witch. And I don't know if I'm actually allowed to say this on the podcast, but the word cunt. Weren't you told growing up that that was one of the worst words you could ever say? But actually, I've been waiting for someone to call me that so I could go, I know, right? I so am. Because it actually originates from a Hindu goddess called Kunti. And Kunti was known as the great yoni of the universe, and she represented the beauty and power of being woman, especially of the woman's body. You know the word pussy, it's denigrated like a put down word for the vagina. But have you read the book Pussy by Mama Gina? Oh my gosh, she called it that because she wanted to reclaim the word, because owning and loving and being with our vaginas with our pussies is beautiful practice, and it's enlivening and awakening and empowering. And so if you haven't read it, go and read it. It is amazing. I could go on and on about the words we're told that are bad and wrong, but I guarantee you all of these words, or most of them, hold like these keys or codes to unlocking feminine power. And that's why the patriarchy have told us, or shunned them, or stopped their use completely, or changed their meaning over time, because they knew these words were spells. That when we speak them aloud, and when we come together as women and sit in our sacred women's circles and know our power, this is when the world's going to change. And that's what the patriarchy is kind of afraid of. They don't want women together. They divided and conquered women, and they created their sister wound so that these spells were not used and they weren't able to sort of activate and supercharge our wisdoms, our gifts, our own innate witchery, ways of being woman, those ways that are our birthright as women, knowing the law, not L-A-W, but L-O-R-E, the law of the land, being connected to nature, using herbs and plants to heal, being the original shamans. Women were the original shamans, and we used our drums for healing and for bringing our communities together. This, for me, is what it means to be a witch, and I am so proud to be a witch. And you know, a witch can come in many different shapes and forms, but it still holds the same essence. But for me, it wasn't always that way. You know, deep within the body and souls of most women, and probably most men, because I'm sure that we're not all incarnated, like we all have a red thread, which is our matriarchal mother line or lineage, because let's look at it this way. When your grandma was pregnant with your mum, at 20 weeks of gestation, all of your mum's eggs were fully formed in her ovaries, which means that you were genetic material or an egg inside your grandmother's womb when she was 20 months, I hope she wasn't 20 months pregnant, 20 weeks pregnant with your mother, which means that your grandmother was inside of her grandmother's womb, and her grandmother was inside her grandmother's womb, and so on and so on. And this is the red thread. This is that matriarchal mother line that goes back through our lineage that both boys and girls hold, but it holds a direct emotional, genetic link to the experiences and emotions that matriarchal lineage line has held. And if you can kind of feel into that for a moment, like this means that we have this memory, these stories, these experiences that are passed down this line, which for me, I believe is what gives me that deep sense of connection and belonging when I sit in Sacred Women's Circle, because this is like the echo within my bones of what women used to do, that my grandma's grandma sat in these circles. We were connected to nature. We remember this within our bones, and this, because this is how we used to live. This is how we, used to be, and this is how we could live again, and this is why I do the work I'm doing. Are you feeling me? Like, do you feel at times you're doing something? Maybe you're in the garden, maybe you're in Women's Circle, maybe there's something that really lights you up that's very deeply feminine. Maybe it's working with herbs or crafting or, looking after your babes. That is this deep, deep memory that you hold in the blood, body and bones. We carry in our blood, body and bones the echoes of our ancestors. And not only thus will we carry memories of the burning times of the witches, but we'll also hold the stories of triumphs over systems where women were seen, and sometimes are still seen, as lesser than men. But, with the feminist, I am not a feminist. I do not believe in feminism, but I am so grateful for the feminist movement to have given women a voice and a stance in this world. My work is centered around the feminine. And yes, I work with women, but the feminine exists within all of us. It's the yin energy. It's that energy that is deeply nurturing and nourishing and wild and raw and primal. And she is the witch. And as this echo or imprint is within all of us, sometimes it's these stories and these memories and this genetic material that holds us back from truly rising into or stepping into our power, rising up and allowing our greatness to shine. Because in history, when we actually stepped into our power, or we practiced our magic, or we were the healers and used herbs and medicines to heal, or even energy to heal, when we were clairvoyant and used our intuition, we were burnt at the stake. And no matter if we weren't burnt at the stake, we saw that happening at some stage in our matriarchal lineal line. But throughout the years, it's kind of this whole feeling of women at some stage in life, even of late, we've been shunned for having emotions. We've been mistreated, exiled, beaten. We were even sold into slavery because of our beauty or the stature of what family we were born into. We have been made to believe that we are crazy because our hormones and our emotions override the rational mind. Which doesn't that lead to us kind of carrying shame and fear and doubt and a sense of needing to filter ourselves so that we can be safe? This is the witch wound. This is the filter. This is what stops us from rising into our greatness, which, creates that tall poppy syndrome that we have here in Australia, that person can't be up there because I'm down here. It's like, let's stop the competition and heal not only the witch wound, but the sister wound and rise together. Because I know myself, I have carried so much fear, so much doubt about stepping into my greatness for so much of my life. There's one of my kind of inner stories that used to play out was that I was too much. But I didn't start realizing it until I started working in the realms of shamanic womancraft and neurological science and all of those deep, deep womanly ways of sacred women's business, that so many of these fears and doubts weren't even mine that I was carrying. These fears and doubts had been passed down to me from my ancestors. And even though they weren't mine, they were still creating blocks in my life and stopping me from becoming the woman I came into this life to be. But it wasn't until I became consciously aware of these wounds and the stories that my ancestors were echoing through my body that I was able to break that chain. I am a mother of a daughter. I don't want her to carry these stories, and I am going to talk to her every single day about what's hers and what's not hers, and breaking all that you're a boy and you're a girl so you can and can't do all of these things. I think it's time for all of us to say enough is enough and finally heal those wounds, integrate them or let them go. Most importantly, stop them from telling us that we are unworthy, that we're not good enough, that who are we to step into this greatness of what I know deep inside me is my gifts. Who are you not to be? Thank you, Marianne Williamson, for giving me my favourite saying in the entire world. Who are you not to be? I said no more. And I truly was afraid to step into my magic, afraid of being too much. And it wasn't like I was going to be paraded down the street and burnt at the stake for being wild, raw and passionate about my opinions and, using my acupuncture and my witchy ways to heal people and hold space in women's circles. It was more that this was so alive in me that it was creating these blocks. But I had to consciously say no more and really work on myself and pull together an amazing support team to help me transform all of the fear and the doubt so that I could actually instead reclaim the wisdom and the knowledge and the beauty that is held in that ancestral line, so that I could unlock the magic and remember the deep soulful connection that we had with nature and with walking the beauty way. You see, for hundreds, if not thousands of years, women have kept their mystical, intuitive and healing gifts hidden. They have suppressed their voice. They haven't wanted to be seen because it has come with fear of being judged or fear of being harmed. The term witch has thus been connected, with, that devil or slander to oppress women, so that it came about to oppress and put down women who couldn't be controlled by the patriarchal institutions. They wouldn't be put in boxes. They wouldn't be silenced. But because of that, they were burnt at the stake. So we hold this deep memory. But it has to come from all of us saying enough is enough. Are you ready to say enough is enough? To start remembering, reclaiming the wisdom of your ancestors. So you, and so that all of us and our children can be the women, the wise women who steward our earth through our great rebirth, the rebirth of the goddess, the rebirth of the feminine power that exists within all of us, and the reclamation of the witch within. This month, September the 10th, 2022 at 7:59 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, which is I think around 2 a.m. Pacific time, there is a full moon which falls in the sign of Pisces. Pisces is the opposite sign on the astrological wheel to Virgo, which is the season that we are in at the moment. We've just had our Virgo new moon, and if you haven't listened to that podcast, it's really beautiful to sort of set the scene for really filling into this witch wound and finding your sovereignty, letting go of all those old stories. But you see, Pisces is the great mystic. You know, it's the creator of the universe and the last sign of the astrological wheel. And it's also the place in our charts that holds our spiritual potential. Pisces is where we carry deep ancient wounds. And being a watery sign, it's deeply emotional and holds that kind of emotional undercurrent of life, which is yours and potentially carried through from your ancestors. Pisces is a feminine archetype that knows how to weather the storms and ride the waves of your spiritual journey towards healing and manifestation. Because as we pull into and connect with this Piscean energy, we have the ability to feel deeply and unlock our own spiritual potential. So as we heal that ripple effect, past, present, and future, through our I'm really struggling with that word today, through our mother line, through our red thread. And because the full moon energy, like the full moon is the great illuminator, it's known to amplify the energy of the sign in which it falls into any given month. And which is why, you know, every single month I sit in Sacred Women's Circle with women all over the world to feel into this portal of energy, because the moon is actually linked so closely to our emotional selves. It's the closest astrological body to the earth, and it holds both the magical and the emotional feelings. And because of that, at these full moon times, that can be amplified during this time. Hence the word lunatic. If we are not consciously moving with the moon and even knowing or feeling into the energy that is being amplified, we can often be pushing shit uphill and trying to move against it. Like we feel like the world is saying, you know, it's trying to put us down or saying life isn't going my way. But really, it's trying to open things within you and show you what is keeping you stuck. Show you the old stories. Show you where you're being blocked from being a hollow bone of this Virgo season, and being the, you know, direct connection to your source, and being able to come in to manifest that which you signed a contract to come into this world to be, to get your magic, your gifts, your purpose to shine. So the secret here is to guide your own inner magic at these times of the full moon to, well, all the phases of the moon when you know how to move with the moon. And there is another podcast on that earlier in the show, around podcast 2 or 3, I think, if you wanted to check that out. But it allows you to kind of feel into what is arising for you during each cycle of the moon and each astrological sign season, as well as each new moon and full moon, so that you can consciously allow space for yourself to tune into what's arising, so you can release it, transform it, or bring it to full manifestation if it's aligned with moving forward into your greatness. Because it'll show you things either standing in your way or avenues in which you can take to step up and step into who you were born to be. That's why, as I said, I hold New Moon Circle every single month. And you can join me. I'll pop a link in the show notes below. But this month, we're holding it a few days earlier than usual. We're holding it on September the 5th at around 12 p.m. Australian time. I think it's about 7 p.m. Pacific. So if it's Monday here, it'll be Sunday in America, and different times all over the world. Just check out your time zone converter. But these women's circles are really, really beautiful. They're deep and they're sacred. And I am holding this one early because I'm about to venture into a wilderness solo or a vision quest, which this one is run by the School of Shamanic Womencraft, and we will be sitting in 3-day preparation and then 3 days in the wilderness alone in a 3-meter circle with nothing but my drum and some water to cry for a vision. And that to me just means to surrender, to be with and commune with nature in all that she is showing up in my life. And that might be every single conversation that I have between now and then. Every single thought, every single feeling gets to arise and just be as I witness to it. And I will have my drum with me to drum myself through awakening to these parts of self. But coming back to this Piscean new moon, we are going to be working on this healing the witch wound theme. And we'll be diving deep into a ritual to retrieve your power and reclaim your gifts so that we can dismantle the witch wound and come out the other side witches in our own right and fucking proud to be a witch. You see, witch is a word I want to help reclaim and bring back into everyday life as a powerful woman in total control of herself. Because when women come together, whether it be online or in person, magic happens. And this circle, I don't believe is going to be for the faint-hearted. I don't do things airy-fairy and on a fluffy level. We're going to go deep, and you will be guided into places that you might reveal deep wounds that you didn't even know were there, that you've been holding on to. But in that sense, the cauldron we create together with these sisterhoods in these circles, you will be held, you will be seen, and you will be safe to move through this as we move through it together. So I'll leave it there. If you want to join me in Sacred Circle, grab that link in the show notes or go to my Instagram and the link is in the bio. But until then, to begin to recognize and heal the witch wound within you, I'd like to leave you with a few self-reflection questions to ponder, to sort of dig into yourself and see what arises. So take a moment, and if it's safe to do so, I invite you to close your eyes and take a few deep and slow breaths. Allowing yourself to drop into your body. Letting go of the mind. If any thoughts arise, imagine they are like a feather and blow them off into the wind. You can come back to it later. But for now, just see, feel, sense what arises in your body when I ask you, in what ways have fear and doubt created blocks on your journey towards becoming who you know you can be in this world? In what ways have fear and doubt created blocks in your life, in your journey, towards shining your light in this world to becoming who you are? Do these fears and doubts feel like you own them? Are they yours? Or were they passed down to you through your motherline? Do these fears and doubt feel like they are yours? Do you own them? Or were they passed down to you through your motherline? If these wounds and stories are not serving you, are you ready to release them? If these wounds and stories are not supporting you, Are you ready to release them? Now let your body wisdom inform you of all the tools and resources that you have at your disposal to help you begin your journey towards healing the witch wound. What tools and resources do you have? Maybe it's simply putting your feet upon the earth, breathing in the beautiful air, swimming in a pond, a lake, an ocean, having a shower or a bath, essential oils, herbs, medicine, magic, drumming, music, sisterhood. What are the tools that you have, the tools or resources? Maybe it's even a coach, a healer, a friend that may be able to help you guide you deeper into healing this witch wound. Or are you being called to sit in Sacred Women's Circle with me on Monday the 5th of September to start this journey and to stop playing small, because you and your light and your gifts are here for a reason. To awaken the divine feminine within means to honor your beauty and your magic and to shine that light as bright as you fucking can. Ah, sister, I'm so glad you were here. Let me know in the comments below what's arisen for you, or hopefully I'll meet you in person at my next full moon circle. Maybe you'll jump over to Instagram or Facebook and start the conversation. Let's get this conversation started, sisters. Let's heal the witch wound. And I will see you when I see you, where I see you. Mwah!